Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today's card is mostly stamping. I'm using this holiday style set by Sunny Studio. I love this set. I used it last year to make these bells that are so realistic. It's just multi-step stamping. Today I'm using the ornaments and I'm going to stamp the tree branch on the top using Garden Green. And my ink pad is pretty dry. In fact, I've had it for like 10 years and I've never re-inked it, so I need to order a re-inker for it. Anyway, so I'm going to stamp it a couple of times here. And I've kind of tilted it to the side here so that I can get two branches. And the end of one branch can continue on another branch. So it's easy to connect these. And I'll stamp this one for the second time and I'll be done. I'm going to use my dark brown Prismacolor pencil to highlight the branches in brown, so I get two different colors here. I experimented with using ink on the stamp. I think I used Early Espresso, and I just didn't like the way it looked. And by using a really light hand with a colored pencil, I could just get that image of a little bit of brown there. Next, I'm going to stamp the ornament hooks. Now, I used a Stamp-O-Majig for this, but looking back on it, I probably really didn't need to because this is so small. But I used this last time in my last card, and so I'm just going to create the image on the Stamp-O-Majig sheet so I can place it exactly. I'm going to make them right on top of the branch here, and I'm going to do that with all three. And then I'm going to do the topper of the ornament the same way with the Stamp-O-Majig. And I'm doing this because I want to get the hook of the ornament top right inside the gap that's created on this stamp to hold whatever it is that the hook is holding. I'm going to sprinkle this with some silver embossing powder, and even though I used Hero Arts ink that dries really quickly, it wasn't totally dry, so I just used a brush to brush away the silver powder that had stuck to my black ink. And I did that 3 times on 3 different branches. Now it's time to stamp my ornaments. I'm going to use my Misty just in case I need to stamp it twice. I'm using Real Red, and I'm going to ink this up. And I'm also, by the way, using Stampin' Up! Whisper White cardstock. It works best with Stampin' Up! Ink. So I'm going to stamp this down. And it turns out that I'm not going to need to stamp any of these twice. But it's nice to have the safety just in case. Now for the highlight, or the low light, I guess, of the ornaments, I'm going to use my Stamp-O-Majig because I really want to make sure I get this lined up exactly. So I'm going to get it set up here, get my Stamp-O-Majig in place. So for the low light of the red ornament, I'm using Cherry Cobbler. But in all 3 of these ornaments, I'm going to stamp off my second color because otherwise it comes out a little bit too dark. So when I stamp off my Cherry Cobbler and stamp it on this Real Red, it's just a beautiful image. It just looks perfect. For my next one, I'm going to stamp the base in Daffodil Delight. So again, I'm going to use my Misty here. And it turns out that I didn't clean my stamp as well as I should have, so it's a little bit tinted at the top red a little bit, but not too bad, not enough to start over. So for my second step, I'm using Crushed Curry. I'm going to stamp that off, and then I'm going to stamp it right there on the ornament. My first version of this card, I had to do the Crushed Curry twice, but for some reason it was dark enough this time around. For my third one, I'm using Tempting Turquoise, and then I'm going to take Pacific Point and stamp it off here on the side, and then stamp it on the ornament. And these are obviously really easy to line up, especially when you use the Stamp-O-Majig, and they just look really beautiful. Just a really easy stamping set. As what usually happens when I do a lot of stamping, I get ink smudges, and I'm not sure where they came from. I never know where they come from, but they always appear. So I'm just going to use a sanding block quickly to get rid of some of them. If you look at the close-up picture on my blog, you'll see the blue kind of smudge, but you can't really see it in the main photo, so it's not really that big of a deal. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment that comes with the set in Hero Arts ink, which should hopefully dry quickly and not smudge. And then I'm going to put some ATG tape runner on the back and adhere it to a piece of Garden Green cardstock. I did trim it to 1/8 of an inch matte on all sides. And then I'm going to adhere this to a Neenah Solar White card base. And that is the card for today. So just a bunch of stamping, and it's fun to kind of get back to the roots of just some basic stamping. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.